We are starting with sheet metal operations. Important from examination point of view, 10 to 15 marks. Oh. Our count is 21 and only 14 students have joined so far. Sheet metal operations means operations which can be done on the presses. So here are some operations you may be familiar. So first one is blanking. There is a spelling mistake. It's balking, but it's blanking. Blanking, then punching, then notching, perforating. The punching, that is number is 2 here. This should be 2. One is blanking, then second is punching. That's why that's why you have to attend the lectures, and that's why the teacher or the coach is required, because such kind of mistakes are almost in every books. And students, they don't bother to understand, and I have seen students writing balking itself. Why? Because it is given in the textbook. So the question which is typically asked and which is popular is explain the different operations, any 5 operations which can be done on the press. 10 marks question straight away. 10 marks is like a bonus. So 2 marks each operation. So remember, the sketch is important. So sketch carries 1 mark and description carries 1 mark. So like that, it is 2 marks. Please tell students to join, because now once I start, then it's always, interrupting for students to admit. See, now one student has joined. Yeah, all 17 now. 17 is the maximum attendance I am getting. Okay, let's start now. So, first operation is blanking. So, blanking is like making a puri, as I have told you. So the scrap which is falling down, this that will be used. So that is what is called as the blanking. It is very simple, not that difficult for the students like you. So in press there is something called as the die, which is the bottom part, and punch which is for the top part, and punch uh, is moving down and die is stationary. So punch moves up and down, punch moves up and down. So that is shown by the arrow. So blanking means the scrap which is falling down. This that will be used. This will be used like a puri. And punching means this which is falling down, that is a waste. So which is going, that is to be used. The strip will be used. That is what is called the punching. So punching is nothing but a creating hole. So punching is also called as the piercing. Punching is also called as the piercing. And there is no other word for the blanking. Blanking matlab blanking. So this is what is your punching is. The diagrams is same, but this is waste. Here, this is the required part. Clearly, it is shown in the drawing. The third is notching. Notching means creating notches at the end. Then perforating matlab you are creating a series of holes. Now these holes can be round or it can be square or any shape. That is what is called the perforating. It's like a sieve. Again, somebody has joined. Harsh, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Screen
Okay.
is visible.
Yeah. Let me see who has joined. Yeah. The next operation is slitting. Out of these 5 operations, you have to reproduce in the exam. Slitting is like this. Cutting a small slot, that is called as the slitting. Then lancing. Lancing ka matlab hai, it's like a slit only, but we are bending also. So lancing will have cutting from 3 directions. See, like you have four sides here, फोर साइड्स हियर. सो लेंसिंग मतलब 3 साइड में कट होएगा और एक साइड में कट नहीं होएगा, और वी आर बेंडिंग दैट पार्ट. दैट इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड द लेंसिंग. दिस, तो ये पार्ट पूरा गिरेगा नहीं, इट विल नॉट फॉल डाउन. So it will be cut from 1, 2, and 3 sides. From 3 sides there will be cutting action. There is no cutting action here. Okay, and it will bend down. That is what is called the lancing. Generally ये lancing मतलब lock purpose, locking के लिए हम लोग use करते हैं, locking के लिए. Shaving is another operation. It's kind of a finishing operation only. Shaving, finishing, and it is also called as a fine blanking operation. So like in blanking, we get tolerances of say 0.02. In blanking, we get tolerances of 0.02, that is 20 microns. So in shaving, you can get tolerances as close as 5 microns, that is 0.005. So it is also called as the fine blanking operation. So where you want closer tools, that time you go for the fine blanking tool. Fine blanking tools are very expensive. Are These are expensive because very high degree of discipline is required in manufacturing and assembling these tools. Then shearing is nothing but cutting. So shearing process में there are 3 important stages like plastic deformation. मतलब जो strip है, strip you know less than 2 mm is called as the strip, and then इसका width भी, strip का width is also generally 25 mm. Then strip is cut out of sheet. Sheet is 8x4, 6x3. These are called the sheet. So sheet का thickness is also कम रहता है. और generally up to 5 mm thick, they are called as the sheet. Sheets are CRCS, that is cold roll carbon steel, or HR, that is hot roll carbon steel, HRCS. Generally, CRCS sheets are procured, and from that the strips are cut and they are coiled, and then these coils are supplied to the press. Again, somebody enjoy 18th guide. Okay, what to do? So above 5 mm thickness, that is called as the plate. If the thickness is more than 5 mm, then it is called as the plate. Okay, and then you have a flat. Flat means it is a kind of a strip, but strip generally it is thickness is 2 mm and flat का जो thickness है it is always more 5 mm के ऊपर flat का thickness. ओके तो शेयरिंग में स्टेजेस कैसा रहता है? फर्स्ट द मटेरियल गेट्स प्लास्टिकली डिफॉर्म, देन फ्रैक्चर दैट इज क्रैक happens, then crack will propagate, that is crack will proceed, and then shearing or cutting will happen. This notes has been taken from book which is called the Goel. So this book also you can refer for your entire production processes, right? Goel. You have to purchase it. I think soft copy is not available. So this is what is first is material is plastically deformed. Plastically deformed matlab if the punch is going up, if the punch is removed, then it will not come back to its original position. If it is coming to its original condition, then it is for the elastic deformation, like eraser or rubber band. Plastic deformation matlab it is crossing the elastic limit. Once it is plastically deformed, it is ready for the fracture. So the fracture will occur from both the sides. This is a clearance, this and this. ये जो gap दिख रहा है, that is a clearance, and it is shown from one side only, एक side से, दूसरा side से नहीं दिख रहा है. This is only from one side. Only one side is shown here. So the fracture will begin from both the sides, from here as well as here. Again somebody has joined. ये अभी क्या बोलेगा ये लोग को? Okay, and then both the fractures they have to meet properly diagonally. They have to meet diagonally so that now the shearing will happen. That is, the component will fall down, and this falling down component is also called as the slug. Slug, an MCQ question, MCQ scrap, or the part which is falling down is called as slug. SLUG. Nibbling. Nibbling matlab. Now what happens here, suppose if you want to have a puri or if you want to have a heart shape, then you need to have a punch of that particular shape, that is heart shape or puri shape. Now suppose if the shape is complex and if it is quite big, then you need to go for that tool, punch. So that becomes very heavy. You need to hit it also. So that becomes expensive. So in such case, this particular rectangular slot or the complex shape can be produced by a very small tool, maybe diameter 5 tool. So you take series of cuts. You cut it series, like say here. With the small tool, you can cut like this, and any shape can be produced. And obviously, this nibbling will be done only on CNC machines. It cannot be done on normal press. It cannot be done on normal, because you need to program that trajectory. You need to program that path. You need to program that trajectory. निबलिंग का डिक्शनरी मीनिंग देखेंगे तो कुरतड़ना, मतलब जैसा कि जो रैट है, चूहा है, वो खाता है, पैर को खाता है या कुरतड़ता है, उसको बोलते हैं निबलिंग. सो निबलिंग इज लाइक दैट ओनली. So any complex shape can be produced with a simple tool. With a simple tool, obviously, nibbling is slow because it will take series of strokes. It will take series of strokes. Like suppose if you want to make a say rectangle, if you want to cut a rectangle of say 100 by 50, if it is 100 by 50 का अगर आप पंच लेंगे तो in one stroke ठक आपको ब्लैंक मिल जाएगा 100 by 50. लेकिन अगर आपके पास 100 by 50 का पंच नहीं है, बनाना है, तो it will take time. So in that case, you go to CNC press, use कौन सा भी एक छोटा rectangular 5 by 5 का tool, which is standard and which comes with the machine, और उससे हम लोग चालू करेंगे. So obviously it will take series of strokes. अगर 100 है और अगर आप 5 by 5 का आप tool use करते हैं, so how many strokes will happen across 100? 100 divided by 5. So 20 strokes लगेगा पूरा 100 travel करने के लिए. And 100 by 50 बराबर है, तो 50 के लिए 10 स्ट्रोक. So 20 plus 10, 30. That is 2 sides, and again remaining 2 sides. So 60. So 60 strokes will be required minimum to complete that punching or blanking of say 100 by 50. And generally it will be used for punching only, not for blanking. You cannot use it for blanking. Now these operations what we discussed, that was shading operations. Now what are the forming operations? Forming means giving the shape. We know now. So forming operations are this bending है, drawing है, embossing, forming, coining. इसमें से important is this. What is the difference between embossing and coining? A regular, popular question, repeated question. Bending, again, what are the different type of bending? So that's why this is very important from examination point of view, these press tools. So you have different operations bending का U bending है, like this, like a cup. This is, remember, this is not to be confused with drawing. ड्राइंग, तो ड्राइंग में खुला पूरा आपका जो डाई है वो ओपन रहेगा. ड्राइंग ड्राइंग में you can make this by drawing also, but the constructions are different. In die this will be totally open, okay, whereas in bending it will be closed, the die will be closed. So you have U bending, then V bending, angle bending, like this. Remember, look at the punch and the die. Then you have curling. कर्लिंग मतलब दिस, लाइक दिस. आपने बकेट देखा होगा, बकेट जो बकेट रहता है ना, बकेट के ऊपर का रिम है, दैट इज बेंड. रिम जो बेंड है उसको हम लोग कर्ल बोलते हैं. सिंपल एग्जांपल ऑफ अपना हेयर, हेयर स्टाइल. अरे क्या कर्लिंग किया क्या, बराबर ना, कर्लिंग, दैट्स अ काइंड ऑफ अ स्टाइल, ओके. बट इन केस ऑफ बकेट, this curling will give the strength to the bucket. Imagine the rim, if it is not curved, if it is straight, it will not have any strength. So the curling will give the strength, as well as it is used to pass the wire. उसमें से हम लोग wire pass करके still the strength will be bigger. See, if you take only a strip, a sheet लेंगे आप 8x6 का strip लेंगे तो, और उसके ऊपर आप 10 किलो भी रखेंगे तो it is going to bend 2 mm थिकनेस और 1 mm थिकनेस. उसको हम लोग उसका जो साइड से एजेस है चारों तरफ से अगर हम लोग उसको बेंड करेंगे 4-4 इंच का, तो उसका स्ट्रेंथ बहुत इंक्रीज हो जाता है, बिकॉज आपका सेक्शन मॉड्यूलस है वो बढ़ता है. दिस इज रोल बेंडिंग. सो रोल बेंडिंग इज डन विद द हेल्प ऑफ द रोल्स. सो द स्ट्रिप इज पास थ्रू द सीरीज ऑफ रोल्स. दिस इज अ वर्क पीस. So you have adjustable roll. This is adjustable roll. These are the driven rolls. This adjustable roll, the purpose of this adjustable roll is to accommodate the various thickness of the strip. Like suppose I have 2 mm strip. Now suppose if I am having 1 mm, so this adjustable roll has to taken down. Okay. Then you have edge bending. This is again popular bending operation. This operation, this bending in a 4-flat machine is not common. But to explain you, like suppose if you want to bend like this, then you have punches which is coming from the sides. Side से आता है दबाने के लिए, side से. And then if you want to remove this component, then remember how to remove this component. You will have to टेक दिस अवे. दिस जो साइड से जो पंचेस आ रहे हैं उसको भी निकालना पड़ेगा. एंड ये जो है सेंटर में लाइक मैंड्रेल, दैट ऑल्सो यू विल हैव टू रिमूव. ओके, देन ओनली दिस कंपोनेंट कैन बी इजेक्टेड आउट. एज बेंडिंग इज वेरी सिंपल. ओके, देन ड्राइंग इज अगेन लाइक शैलो ड्राइंग और डीप ड्राइंग. प्रोसेस ऑफ मेकिंग कप्स. Process of making cup. Generally, the bending में क्या रहता है, bend length is less, whereas in drawing, the depth is more. And you know, the shallow cups, and you know the that is shallow drawing and deep drawing. So it all depends upon the L/D ratio, that is deep drawing or shallow drawing का L/D रेशियो में ये डिपेंड है किसको शैलो बोलने का और किसको डीप बोलने का. सो L मतलब हाइट, दैट इज व्हाट इज द हाइट ऑफ द कप एंड डायमीटर ऑफ द कप. that is this diameter of the cup. So this height to diameter ratio decides whether it is shallow drawing, shallow मतलब depth कम रहेगा, or deep drawing, and it also decides how many number of draws are required, whether it can be done in one draw, two draws, or three draws. Maximum we do drawing in four stages, and not more than that. And there is a fixed drawing ratio that you'll come to know. Fortunately bolo or unfortunately bolo, there will not be any numericals, because it is not possible to cover those numericals. Embossing is like this, like raising of the letters. मतलब हम लोग like बेल्ट के ऊपर जो रहते हैं, या आपका ब्लैक बुक या प्रोजेक्ट बुक के ऊपर हम लोग नाम एम्बोस करते हैं. तो दैट इज व्हाट इज योर embossing. So this is embossing operation is most common for your project books. When you have this forming operation, that is giving the shapes. Then coining. So embossing में क्या होता है, एक साइड से ही बाहर आ जाता है. लुक, एक साइड से मटेरियल बाहर आ गया और यहाँ पे कैविटी हो गया और यहाँ पे रेज हो गया. रेज मतलब projection kind of thing. So here it is raised and here it is cavity. Whereas coining में मतलब दोनों साइड से आपको raise मिलेगा. There is no cavity. So if you have a blank like this, then final component is like this. Coining like our normal coins. So दोनों साइड से आपको impressions मिलेगा coining. So that is the basic difference. Again, now drawing में drip drawing, so it depends upon the ratio. So now in whatever operations we have discussed, जो blanking बोलो, shearing बोलो, वहाँ पे आपका कैसा strip है वो, it is hold rigidly, okay, and then punch goes down, okay, and then operation is happening, okay, blanking बोलो, piercing बोलो, perforating बोलो. Okay, that time the strip is not moving. Strip has to remain fixed, एकदम घट. Strip has to be whole. Whereas in deep drawing or in drawing operation, strip is not hold rigidly. It is not hold rigidly. At the same time, it should not be hold loose also. It should not be hold loose also. So it is just hold nicely in such a way that the strip can go down when the punch is descending down. When the punch is going down, the strip also should go down. Then only the drawing will happen. Drawing operation will happen. That is first thing. Since the punch motion has to be slow, it cannot be done on the mechanical press. So it has to be done on the hydraulic press. It has to be done on the hydraulic press where the speed of the punch can be controlled easily. Just a minute. So the second difference is the movement of the punch. The movement of the punch has to be slow. Movement of the punch has to be slow. So that's why it has to be done on the hydraulic press, because in mechanical press you cannot control the speed, and generally the speed of the punch thup, that is generally it is constant. There is, I mean, you cannot vary or you cannot change the speed in mechanical presses. Then third difference between the cutting on shearing and drawing operation is, drawing is a forming operation, remember. Third difference is the clearance between the punch and the die is more. Clearance between the punch and the die, this is your punch and this is die, is more, and generally it has to be equal to or little more than the thickness of the strip. That means suppose if the thickness of the strip is 1 mm, then the clearance per side will be minimum 1 or little more than 1, maybe 1.05 or 1.1. If it is 2 mm, then it should be 2.05 or 2.1, like that. Hmm. So that your strip has to go down, isn't it, between punch and die. So that's why the clearance is more. And in case of cutting operation or shearing operation, the clearance is less. Generally, it is 5% to 10% of the thickness. That means if per side, whatever I'm telling, clearance means it is by default, it will be per side. That means if the thickness of the strip is say 2 mm, so 5% of the 2 mm, or if the thickness of the strip is 1 mm, then 5%, that is the clearance will be 0.05 millimeter, per sides. So since the clearances are less, then only your shearing will happen, your cutting will happen. Okay, then there are different type of, so these are the operations, and this is the scope now of the press. So press is very vital in your regular workshop practices or in manufacturing. So what are the different type of press machines? So how it can be classified? Again, the question which can be asked is how the press machines are classified. 5 marks के लिए. So you have to at least give 5 types. So one is, first is according to the power source. So in power source again, power source में again हैंड प्रेस है, पावर प्रेस है. हैंड प्रेस मतलब हाथ से करते हैं, नो इलेक्ट्रिकल सप्लाई इज रिक्वायर्ड. ओके, सो हाथ से हम लोग दबाते हैं. सो देर इज अ लीवर, ऊपर ऐसा लीवर रहता है और वो लीवर को हम लोग घुमाते हैं विद स्पीड. ओके, सो इट इज वेरी लेबरियस एंड इट इज वेरी टायरिंग, वेरी वेरी टायरिंग. तो इसमें लेबर आपका है वो रुकता नहीं है, मतलब टिकता नहीं है. एंड 10 दिन में ही वो भाग जाएगा. बिकॉज सी रिमेंबर, एवरी नाउ ही हैज टू रोटेट एंड प्रेस इट, रोटेट एंड प्रेस इट, रोटेट एंड प्रेस इट. 1 घंटा 2 घंटा 3 घंटा, लाइक दैट 1 शिफ्ट 2 शिफ्ट, लाइक दैट 1 डे 2 डे. वेरी, मतलब 2 दिन में आप दारा सिंह बन जाएंगे, ऐसा है. इफ यू ईट प्रॉपरली, इफ यू डू नॉट ईट प्रॉपरली तो आप एकदम करीना कपूर हो जाएंगे, एकदम स्लिम. So it is basically laborious. So that's why uh, you have to go for the power press. Power press. So power press, as the name suggests, it needs electrical power. So every stroke he has to press the button so that the punch goes down and the punching will takes place. Then according to the type and design of the frame. So this is what is for the frame. Now in this OBI press are most common. So OBI press का मतलब क्या है? Open bed inclinable, और sometimes it is also open back भी बोलते हैं, open back inclinable. इसका back side है वो open रहता है, that's why it is open back inclinable. Open back inclinable. So this is open bed inclinable. So यहाँ से you can have a look, or you can feed the strip. यहाँ से इधर से भी कर सकते हैं, that is perpendicular to the computer screen from the back side से. Another advantage is ये जो incline रहता है and back side is open रहता है, तो इसका जो scrap है that falls down easily, and then that scrap can be collected while the operation is going on. The scrap can be collected आराम से, very easily. So that is the purpose. Then you have group frame, you have straight side frame, you have 2 column press, you have 4 column press. Then horning press, horning. So horning press मतलब it looks like a horn, जो ट्रक का हॉर्न रहता है ना, ऐसा. तो it is generally used for drilling the holes. Now I will not use the term drilling, I will use the term punching. So इसमें हम लोग क्या करते हैं, एक राउंड जो कंपोनेंट है, हॉलो कंपोनेंट, उसको अगर उसके सरकमफेरेंस के ऊपर, इमेजिन अ सिलेंड्रिकल शेल और अ कप, हॉलो कप, नॉट अ ब्लाइंड कप, हॉलो कप, उसका सरकमफेरेंस पे आपको होल्ड करना है। तो हाउ विल डू, तो हॉर्न प्रेस में कैसा रहता है, एक ऐसा सिलिंड्रिकल मैंडल जैसा हॉर्न रहता है, सिलिंड्रिकल मैंडल, उसके ऊपर हम लोग एक कप शेप जो हॉलो कंपोनेंट है उसके ऊपर हम लोग फिक्स करते हैं, ओके, और सीधा पंच करते हैं, होल पंच करते हैं। So horn press is mainly meant for doing this operation only, that is punching the hole on a cylindrical cup type of components. Then you have third type, that is according to the actions. Everything is important from examination point of view here. You can expect 20 marks इसमें, including 5 marks question, 10 marks question and MCQ on sheet metal operation. So you have single action, double action and ट्रिपल एक्शन पीस। सो सिंगल एक्शन में सिंगल रैम रहता है, इसमें 2 रैम रहते हैं, ट्रिपल एक्शन में 3 रैम रहते हैं। सो depending upon the type of die, you will come to know whether it is simple die or whether it is compound die or whether it is combination die, huh? So you have to use this double action or triple action pin. Like say compound die, so compound die में कैसे रहते हैं, 2 operations होता है at a time simultaneously at one stroke. So मतलब for example blanking and piercing, that is say take an example of say washer, okay, take an example of washer, blanking and piercing. If you are not doing both the operations simultaneously एक साथ, then what you have to do, you have to do blanking first and then you have to do piercing, or you can do piercing first and then on the second machine you can go for piercing. तो इसमें क्या होता है, यू नीड टू प्रेस, यू नीड 2 ऑपरेटर्स, ओके, एंड यू नीड फ्लोर स्पेस ऑल्सो, आपका जगह भी जाता है बराबर 2 मशीन के लिए, तो एवरीथिंग इज एक्सपेंसिव। तो इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट एक ही स्ट्रोक में आप ब्लैंकिंग भी करो और पंचिंग भी करो, दैट इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड द कंपाउंड डाई, ओके। देन अकॉर्डिंग टू द रैम ड्राइविंग मैकेनिज्म, मतलब आपका जो पंच है, इसको रैम बोलते हैं, आपको जो पंच है इट इज कनेक्टेड टू द रैम, उसको हम लोग कैसे ड्राइव कर रहे हैं, उसको हम लोग कैसे ड्राइव कर रहे हैं। सो डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दैट इट इज क्लासिफाइड एज क्रैंक प्रेस, आई विल शो यू द ड्राइंग बिलो, एक्सेंट्रिक प्रेस, टॉगल प्रेस, नक्कल प्रेस, rack and pinion press. So these are the drawing. This is the crank driven press. ये है वो क्रैंक ड्राइव है, ओके। सो दिस इज अ क्रैंक शाफ्ट, ये आपका कनेक्टिंग रॉड है। दिस इज एक्सेंट्रिक ड्राइव, ये आपका जो है एक्सेंट्रिक टू विच द कनेक्टिंग रॉड इज कनेक्टेड, एंड दिस इज द शाफ्ट टू विच द ड्राइव इज गिवन, एंड दिस इज माउंटेड एक्सेंट्रिकली। बेसिक पर्पस क्या है, जो रोटरी मोशन है उसको कन्वर्ट करना है आपको टू एंड फ्रो, दैट इज अप एंड डाउन, दैट इज रेसिप्रोकेटिंग मोशन। रोटरी मोशन मतलब ये रोटरी मोशन जो कि मोटर के थ्रू आता है, मोटर के थ्रू आता है, मोटर में भी बिलो और मोटर में भी माउंटेड, यहाँ पे भी मोटर माउंट कर सकते हैं, हियर ऑल्सो मोटर कैन बी माउंटेड। देन टॉगल ड्राइव, सो दिस इज योर toggle, so these are your toggle levers, toggle levers. So toggle drive and knuckle drive, these are the knuckle levers, so they give tonnage, high tonnage, they give high tonnage. This is your rack and pinion, मतलब ये आपका पिनियन है which is rotating और ये रैक है, तो इसमें क्या रहता है, मतलब एक बार आपको क्लॉकवाइज घुमाना है और एक बार एंटी क्लॉकवाइज, मतलब मान लो कि सपोज if it is rotating like this it will go up. Now when I want to take it down, then what, when I want to ऐसा ये ऐसा रोटेट हो रहा है, when I want to take it down obviously I will have to rotate in opposite direction, rack and pinion, तो फॉरवर्ड रिवर्स चलते रहेगा। That's why generally these are not used, rack and pinion. And this is hydraulic, so hydraulic is the best for drawing operation, and wherein you can control the speed, you can control the velocity also. तो यहाँ पे ये आपका ऑयल लाइन है, तो यहाँ से ऑयल आएगा पिस्टन को दबाएगा और यहाँ से ऑयल जो ये इधर का है वो निकलेगा, ऑयल यहाँ से निकलेगा तभी ये ऑयल इसको दबाएगा। ओके, सो इट विल गो डाउन। जब ऊपर जाना है तभी क्या करेंगे, यहाँ से ऑयल भेजेंगे, ओके, और इधर का ऑयल है वो बाहर निकालेंगे। ओके, so when this oil is removed and you are sending the oil from here, then this piston will move up. Okay, and this there is a separate valve here, solenoid valves, which controls, you know, valve position. Valve position मतलब क्या, ऑयल यहाँ से जाना है, यहाँ से आना है, बाद में यहाँ से जाना है, यहाँ से आना है, so there is a valve, that is 2/3 valve or 3/2 valve. 2/3 मतलब दो इनलेट तीन आउटलेट, like that it is. And then to control that valve, again for that you have solenoid, which will operate that valve, so that you'll come to know slowly. Then according to the number of crankshaft, single crank, double crank, according to the power transmission method, that is direct drive press, non-geared or flywheel, then single drive, double geared. These are the parts of a power press. Parts of a power press. So you have, this is bolster plate, जिसके ऊपर हम लोग डाई लगाते हैं. Bolster plate is a part of a press. Then you have ram here. This is the side view, this is the front view, anything. Or this can be front view and this is the side view. Unless and until you draw the top view, you can't say which one is side view and which one is front view. If I draw my top view here, then this top view on the top as per third angle, then this becomes my right side view. If I draw it here, then this becomes my left side view or left hand view. ओके, सो बोल्स्टर प्लेट के ऊपर हम लोग डायल लगाते हैं, रैम को हम लोग पंच लगाते हैं. नाउ पिटमैन, रिमेंबर पिटमैन इज अ पार्ट विच इज यूज्ड टू कनेक्ट द कनेक्टिंग रॉड एंड द रैम. दिस वाज आस्क्ड इन योर रेगुलर स्टूडेंट्स का एग्जाम में, एंड ऑल द 100% स्टूडेंट्स दे फेल्ड टू आंसर. तो एमसीक्यू था, 2 मार्क्स सबका गया. नोबडी कुड स्कोर 20 मार्क्स आउट ऑफ 20. Nobody could answer this pitman. So you have a flywheel here which stores the energy and gives the energy in cutting stroke, that is when it is going down. Okay, at that time it gives out the energy, and when it comes up, that time it is gaining the energy. Okay, or storing the energy. So these are the different components. You have base, frame, ram, pitman. So pitman, in an eccentric phase, there is a connecting rod which connects the ram and crankshaft, which is known as the pitman. So ram, this is a ram, and this is a connecting rod. ये दोनों को कनेक्ट करने के लिए जो यूज करते हैं, that is called as the pitman. Okay. Then you have bolster plate. It is a thick plate which comes with the bed of the press, or it's kind of a bed. इसमें कि ऐसा टी स्लॉट्स रहता है और इसके ऊपर हम लोग डाई को फिक्स करते हैं. Then die set मतलब आपका टूल. ओके, कैविटी, सॉरी, पंच एंड द कैविटी, सो टुगेदर उसको हम लोग डाई सेट बोलते हैं, या डाई ब्लॉक बोलते हैं. नाउ दिस डाई सेट्स is procured as a standard part. It is procured as a standard part. So you work only on the punch and the cavity. So tool making is very fast, as well as it becomes economical and cheap also. So this is a typical tool, is simple cutting tool. So all these are standard part. आपका जो die block, okay. Then these are called the guide pillar, and this is your guide bush. So this guide pillar and guide bush is used for the alignment. ये जो alignment है, That is, since this is moving up and down, it has to align properly. Because suppose if this line and this line, if they are not coinciding, whenever the operation is being taken place, imagine that this line is little over here. Okay, what will happen? The punch will get damaged. बराबर ना? Punch will get damaged because the clearance is hardly 0.05 or 0.1. अगर ये 0.1 से भी आउट हो जाता है, 0.1 से भी आउट हो जाता है, ठप करके पंच आपका डाई ब्लॉक के ऊपर बैठेगा और इन अ सेकेंड योर डाई ब्लॉक इज स्पॉइल, पूरा डैमेज करके हाथ में दे देगा. अगर बैड लक है तो एक्सीडेंट भी हो जाएगा. हाँ, टुकड़ा वगैरह निकलेगा तो सामने जो ऑपरेटर है, it can be fatal also. So you have to be careful, press में. So the alignment is very important. Many people, they have lost their hands, they have lost their fingers. मेरे को कुछ नहीं होएगा ये कॉन्फिडेंस रहता है, एक्सीडेंट एक ही बार होता है. सो दैट्स व्हाई इवन इफ इंटरलॉक्स भी देते हैं हम लोग, इवन इफ यू गिव इंटरलॉक्स मतलब क्या, आपको दोनों हाथ से प्रेस करना है, देन ओनली इट विल ऑपरेट. फिर भी हम लोग तो बहुत स्मार्ट रहते हैं, वी स्किप द इंटरलॉक्स. हम लोग इंटरलॉक को क्या करते हैं, अनलॉक करते हैं, स्किप करते हैं, देन वी ऑपरेट इट. So these are the different parts. There is, I will explain you one part which is important, that is stripper plate. अभी क्या होता है, stripper is this. I'll zoom it. Zoom करता हूँ. ये आपका स्ट्रिपर है. स्ट्रिपर, इसमें से आपका ये जो है, ये इसमें से आपका स्ट्रिप जा रहा है. ओके, strip is how the strip is going perpendicular to the screen. The strip is going perpendicular to the computer screen. Okay. Now what happens when the punch is going down? Now when the punch goes up, जब punch आपका ऊपर आता है, तभी there is a tendency that it will lift the strip also along with it. वो strip को भी उठाता है, punch strip को भी उठाता है, वो पूरा strip को ऊपर भी लेके जाएगा, and then the strip will fly like anything, like a snake, and again accident can occur. So in order to hold the strip, that is, we have to see that strip remains नीचे ही. For that, we are keeping a plate from the top, and that is what is called as a stripper. तो stripper क्या करता है, जो strip है, will not allow the strip to lift up. ये जो है पैकिंग जो है, सपोज वी नो दैट इज, हम लोग जो स्ट्रिप यूज करने वाले हैं, मेरे पास प्रेस शॉप है, मेरे पास जो स्ट्रिप है 2 mm के ऊपर नहीं आने वाला है. सो ये जो पैकिंग जो प्लेट है या गाइड प्लेट, दिस इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड द गाइड प्लेट थ्रू विच द स्ट्रिप इज बीइंग पास. गाइड प्लेट का थिकनेस रहेगा 2.1, और स्ट्रिप है, मैक्सिमम स्ट्रिप का थिकनेस है 2 mm. तो अगर इफ आई एम यूजिंग 2 mm थिक स्ट्रिप, तो खाली 0.1 ही उठेगा, क्योंकि गाइड प्लेट का थिकनेस या पैकिंग प्लेट का थिकनेस 2.1 है. अगर मैं स्ट्रिप 1 mm का यूज करता हूँ, सो अगेन आई डोंट हैव टू चेंज द गाइड प्लेट. अगर 1 mm का यूज करता हूँ तो स्ट्रिप कितना उठेगा, 1.1, उसके ऊपर नहीं. सो इट इज ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल दैट यू हैव टू यूज स्ट्रिपर. और स्ट्रिपर में भी टाइप है, फिक्स टाइप स्ट्रिपर, फ्लोटिंग टाइप स्ट्रिपर, which we'll see subsequently. This is what the process of metal cutting is. Yes. So sometimes this question is also asked, explain the process of shearing or cutting on press machine. So that time this diagram is very, very important. This diagram, if you don't know this diagram, then you will not get a full marks. Yes. So this diagram, so you have a die block here, this is the punch, this is how the fracture begins. और ये जो है वो स्ट्रिप है. ये स्टॉक मटेरियल जो लिखा है, स्टॉक मतलब शेयर्स नहीं, स्टॉक मतलब स्ट्रिप. तो उसका जो ऊपर का जो लेयर है, दैट इज इन टेंशन, और नीचे का लेयर है कॉम्प्रेशन. द फ्रैक्चर विल बिगिन फ्रॉम दिस एज वेल एज फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट, दोनों से, एंड देन फ्रैक्चर हैज टू मीट. दोनों साइड से आपका फ्रैक्चर चालू होता है. इट्स लाइक ड्रिलिंग अ होल इन अ टनल फ्रॉम बोथ द साइड्स, and when you are drilling it, it meets at a point. If it doesn't meet at a point, then you will not get a through and through hole. Okay, so same thing. Then the clearance plays very important role in blanking, piercing, in cutting operation, basically in shearing operation. If the here it is shown the effect, like if the clearance is too much, how the fracture, it will not happen. Or if the clearance is too little, again these fractures है, it will not meet. देखो, they are, here it is missing. They have to meet. They have to meet like this. ऐसा मीट होना उनके स्ट्रेट लाइन में. यहाँ पे दे आर नॉट मीटिंग. So here the fracture will not happen. Fracture मतलब cutting. It will be kind of a rubbing kind of thing. It will be kind of a rubbing. जैसे कि छुरी को धार नहीं है, फिर भी हम लोग उसको फोर्स लगा के कैसा भी करके काटते हैं. लेकिन अगर वही छुरी को धार है तो इन जस्ट वन गो it will cut and you will get a clean cut. अगर धार नहीं, if it get blunt, then you will get a burr at the bottom. So moment you start getting a burr, you will come to know अभी छुरी को धार लगाना है, या you will have to apply more force. Then also you understand, yes, now it's a time to regrind the punch or regrind the churi. All right. So this is a clearance per side. ये clearance, this is a clearance per side. यहाँ पे. तो पियर्सिंग में आपका जो स्लग है वो स्क्रैप है, और ब्लैंकिंग में आपका जो स्लग है, मतलब जो नीचे गिरने वाला पार्ट है, दैट इज टू बी यूज्ड. ओके, these are the clearances for various metals which you use. That is, if it is brass and soft steel, it is 5% of the thickness. Medium carbon steel, it is 6%, and so on. Then what are the type of the dies? Then there is something called as the draft. That is this. हम लोग क्या करते हैं डाई में, दिस इज अ डाई ब्लॉक, तो थोड़ा पोर्शन में हम लोग स्ट्रेट रखते हैं. ओके, और फिर उसको एंगल देते हैं सो दैट द पार्ट कैन फॉल इजीली. अगर क्या होता है, सपोज इफ यू आर कीपिंग दिस स्ट्रेट थ्रू आउट, अगर आप स्ट्रेट थ्रू आउट है तो क्या होता है, देयर आर चांसेस दैट स्लग है ना, इट मे गेट ट्रैप, अटक जाता है स्लग बीच में. अगर अगर ऐसा ड्राफ्ट देते हैं तो स्लग है वो इजीली फॉल, इट कैन फॉल. बट at the same, you have to see that this is at least 5 mm or 10 mm. Why? Because after some time, no, you need to regrind this die block. Blunt होता है ना, तो ये regrind करना पड़ता है, और regrinding के लिए आपको कम से कम 0.3 0.4 मटेरियल तो चाहिए. सो अगर आप 10 mm थिकनेस रखते हो तो यू कैन एटलीस्ट regrind 10 times. That's why normally the people they keep it straight throughout, so that the life of the die is more. ये कौन अब भी आया देखो, खत्म होने के टाइम, स्मार्ट गए. So generally this clearance is 1 degree or half a degree. So this is what is called as the angular clearance. How the dies are classified? So it is simple die, compound die, combination die, progressive die, transfer die, and multiple die. Out of this, in the industry, simple die is nothing but what the diagram I showed. That is a simple die. मतलब आपके पास एक die है और punch है, ठीक है. Compound die and progressive die and progressive die is most commonly used. Progressive die में कैसा होता है? There are many operations which are done in progression, like blanking, notching, cutting, coining, embossing. So you need only one press, एक ही प्रेस लगेगा आपका, लेकिन डाई बड़ा हो जाता है बिकॉज देयर आर सेवरल ऑपरेशंस डन. लेकिन एक ही प्रेस मशीन लगता है, एक ही टूल लगता है, एक ही ऑपरेटर. सो अगर आपको 5 प्रेस, मतलब आपको सपोज यू वांट टू डू ब्लैंकिंग, पियर्सिंग, बेंडिंग, कॉइनिंग, एम्बोसिंग, 5 प्रेस लगेगा, तो इंस्टेड ऑफ 5 प्रेस यू कैन डिजाइन अ टूल और अ डाई विच इज कॉल्ड द प्रोग्रेसिव डाई. तो एक ही प्रेस में आपका काम हो जाता है, खाली डाई जो है वो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाता है बस. बट प्रोग्रेसिव डाई इज पॉपुलर बिकॉज सी स्पेस बच जाता है, ऑपरेटर बच जाता है, एंड मेन थिंग इज आपका जो एक्यूरेसी है, दैट यू गेट अ क्लोज एक्यूरेसी, बिकॉज एक ही सेटिंग में आप सारे ऑपरेशंस करते हैं। वही अगर 5 प्रेस है तो आपको 5 बार सेटअप हो जाता है, तो इन एवरी सेटअप में देयर विल बी सम एरर, इजंट इट? सो क्यूमुलेटिवली आपका एक्यूरेसी यू लूज व्हेन यू यूज number of presses, more number of presses. So this is what is compound die. A typical example of compound die मतलब क्या? Producing a washer. Washer में कैसा रहता है? होल भी हो रहा है और आउटसाइड डायमीटर भी हो रहा है. That is compound die. Okay. And this is आपका कॉम्बिनेशन डाई. कॉम्बिनेशन डाई में कैसा? आप अगर ड्राइंग करते हो, ड्राइंग मतलब नॉट स्केचिंग, रिमेम्बर, ड्राइंग मतलब कप या ग्लास है, पानी पीने का ग्लास स्टील का, दैट इज प्रोड्यूस बाय ड्राइंग ऑपरेशन, फाइन। तो वो जो है दैट कैन बी डन ऑन कॉम्बिनेशन डाई, लेकिन ड्राइंग करने के पहले आपको एक ब्लैंक चाहिए, है ना? ब्लैंक मतलब अगर मेरे को एक कप बनाना है जिसका डायमीटर है 50 और इसका हाइट है सपोज 100, तो उसका एग्जैक्ट साइज का मेरे को ब्लैंक चाहिए। जैसे कि अपने को सपोज वी गो टू टेलर, नाउ तो हम लोग रेडीमेड लेते हैं, बट सपोज पहला टेलर का जमाना था तो हम लोग शर्ट पीस लेते थे, पैंट पीस लेते थे और टेलर के पास जाते थे। तो टेलर यूज टू कट एग्जैक्टली एज पर आवर साइज, एग्जैक्टली उसको काट के एज पर आवर साइज वो करता था। So that is what is called a development, developed sheet. So similarly, for drawing also you need to have a developed size. So combination डाई में क्या करते हैं? ब्लैंकिंग, मतलब यहाँ पे आपका ब्लैंकिंग होएगा और यहाँ पे आपका ड्राइंग होएगा। सो ब्लैंकिंग एंड ड्राइंग दोनों भी ऑपरेशन साथ में होएगा। See, I am running fast because see now we have very less number of lectures, so that's why. So I request you please study on your own. एंड प्रोग्रेसिव डाई में कैसा रहता है? सीरीज ऑफ ऑपरेशन, सीरीज ऑफ ऑपरेशन, लाइक से हियर पियर्सिंग हो रहा है, हाँ, मतलब कैसा है? देयर विल बी नंबर ऑफ स्टेशन। यहाँ पे पियर्सिंग हो रहा है, ये दिस इज कॉल्ड वन स्टेशन, मतलब पंचिंग हो रहा है, और यहाँ पे ब्लैंकिंग हो रहा है, दैट इज सेकंड स्टेशन। सो द स्ट्रिप डायरेक्शन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन दिस केस। नाउ स्ट्रिप ऐसा जा रहा है, हाँ, लेफ्ट से राइट में जा रहे हैं, ओके। तो पहला आपका पियर्सिंग हो रहा है, फिर ब्लैंकिंग हो रहा है, ओके। तो एवरी स्ट्रोक में आपको ये वॉशर मिलेगा, एंड यू कैन हैव नंबर ऑफ स्टेशन लाइक दिस। लोकेटिंग एक रहता है, बिकॉज आपको स्ट्रिप लोकेट करना पड़ता है। देन यू कैन डू बेंडिंग ऑल्सो, यू कैन डू क्रॉपिंग, यू कैन डू नॉचिंग, मेनी ऑपरेशंस कैन बी डन। Transfer ties and multiple ties are not important from examination point of view. So this is the comparison between compound die and progressive die. This is ठीक है. I am sorry, we will have to stop here because you have another lecture here. If you have any doubt, please ask. Any doubt, please ask. ठीक है. I'll stop it. Thank you. Which lecture you have now? Home?
Sir,
Com.
Okay. If you please go through the notes, and if you have any doubt, start doing self-study. If you have any doubt, you please ask. Okay. Thank you so much.